No.
Double or Nothing?
I don't know if I am or not.
Not going to pick up. How about the New Japan Pro Forbidden Door next month?
I have really considered doing that.
Okay.
Because that
Yeah,
looks really good.
I'm kind of pissed that they're doing back-to-back like that, but
well, it is what it is.
yeah.
So, we are, because I've already got tickets, we're going to go watch Top Gun Saturday.
Ooh, Maverick.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Karen and I are big Top Gun fans.
Yes.
So,
and you should be. It's just no reason to not be.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, if Rob Liefeld swoons over it, I mean, it's got to be good.
I did see something about that. I was like,
he's been gushing over Maverick. Goodness.
It's like, dude, calm down. It'll be
Yeah,
all
I think
right.
he's got to take a shower every time he talks about it. Dude.
Like, you'll be fine, buddy. It'll be okay. So, but yeah, I totally forgot. Like today was the start of Star Wars Celebration, and so they had released a trailer for Andor, the TV show, which I mean, it looks really good. But it's takes place before Rogue One.
It's in August, right?
I think so.
September.
Yeah, like but then what I was really looking forward to was the Willow one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that looks really good.
I didn't know they were remaking that.
Well, they're not remaking it. It's a continuation of the story. It's a TV series.
I don't think I'd heard that. Okay.
Yeah, so it's got
well, it doesn't have Val Kilmer.
No, but it's
doesn't have.
It's got Warwick though.
He's okay. Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So the trailer looks pretty good. I mean, I was a kid when that movie came out, and I was a huge fan of it. So as soon as you mentioned Willow, you've at least got me curious. So when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, okay, it looks pretty good. So
there's a Star Wars show that drops tomorrow, isn't there?
Obi-Wan starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. 2 episodes they'll drop. So had to compete with that Tom Cruise, fest.
I guess, yeah. I knew about Tom Cruise weeks ago because Rob got a screening, one of those whatever. He knows people's screenings, and so every episode of his podcast he's put out, it's found its way in there somehow.
Yep, that's the way it
works. Twitter, he's been all about it on Twitter too. So
yeah, I see a little bit about that. I've kind of stayed away from him. I still follow him, but I'm just like, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, grain of salt.
Yep, exactly. All right, so let's go ahead and get started.
Let's do it.
This is episode 39.
Yes.
I did look as far as episode 100 or Legacy 100 would be.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, doesn't seem that far away. It's like the end of the summer.
Yeah, well, we're at 470, 85.
Yeah.
15 weeks.
Yeah, so a little more than, yeah. So,
just depending on how everything falls. Yeah, 15, probably more than 15, but less than probably 30, probably less than 25.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean.
I hope so.
Well,
try and squeeze it in before the end of the year.
That'd be cool. Then it'll be your second most produced show.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, you got to keep in mind, like Image Addiction, I wasn't even on probably the last 20 episodes.
Okay, well, but it went over 100 before that.
It was like 108 episodes.
Yeah, so
Comic Addiction went, if you count all of them, all the restarts and everything, it was like 130 some episodes.
Okay,
but still, yeah.
So maybe by next year, this will be your highest number. Hey, I've got a show nearing 400.
So. Yeah, I know. So you're a little more.
Dance Fever is getting near 400. So yeah,
and it's such the strange. It's not a comic book related one at all.
No, it's not. And it's not one like we haven't recorded. We'll probably record an episode here within the next couple of weeks. We haven't recorded and put one out since December,
right?
Because of the way shows are. But since 2009,
it's a lot of shows.
Yes, it is. That's a lot.
Was the goal always just to cover one show, or was it to cover all of them?
Well, initially the idea was to cover So You Think You Can Dance.
Right.
That was our favorite show. But
Okay.
then we also liked Dancing with the Stars. So when it came on in the fall. So You Think was in the summer. So we just kept going and just added Dancing with the Stars since we were already talking.
Yeah.
But then I got access to the originator of Dancing with the Stars, which is Strictly Come Dancing over in England. And it is from September to Christmas weekend. Strict. Just that's when it is every week. So it's like, well, I can get that. Let's watch the progenitor of the Dancing with the, So we added that, and then we're like, because of the interest, we would watch this show. We would talk about it. We'd watch this show and we'd dump it. We'd watch, so it just.
Yep.
So now we try to watch as many dancing shows as we can, and we try to talk about as many of them as we can.
Yep. Crazy. One sec. Go ahead and I'm gonna tweet this out.
Okay.
This is gonna get Inception here for a second.
Oh.
Okay, not anymore. I had to quickly do that.
Just as long as my shit doesn't start folding in on me.
Right,
and stuff. And, like the Inception did it first, but Doctor Strange did it with in Spider-Man. Well, I guess he did a little bit in his movie, but he did Spider-Man, and I'm sure he did it in his second movie too, because it's a cool effect. So what was it? That dimension where they
mirror
practice
dimension or
but
something,
not affect anything in reality. Yeah. So
yep. Sounds like a plan to me. We're live. Okay, cool. All right. So let's get started. 39 in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to Boom Addiction. This is episode number 39. I am one of your hosts, Chris Barton. With me as always is Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how are you?
I am here and ready to go with lots of boom stuff.
Woohoo.
I have a boom backup.
You have a boom backup?
Yeah. There's a song in there somewhere. But
there is somewhere. I feel it.
I
feel something going on. Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm
not a musician. Musician. I'm not
musically
a magician
inclined.
either. No. Although I was in band in junior high and high school and 3 of my 5 years of college. I was in the marching band.
Well, there you go.
And a jazz band and a performance band. But I played
You're
a brass
way more musically inclined than I am.
I was.
I was a radio DJ and that was it.
Oh, I tried that, but I guess they didn't like my voice in college because they never called me back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I tried.
I just hijacked a friend of mine's show. That's all. So. Okay. Midnight to 3 a.m. on WASU 93 point something or another.
There you go. Yes. Good hours.
So, trust me, it was the best. Monday night, midnight to 3 a.m.
Oh, okay.
During exam weeks, when we should be studying, it was midnight to 6 a.m. on Mondays.
Double.
So I rolled into my 9 o'clock class on Mondays. Like,
yes, you did, boy.
Like, I'm so happy I'm here.
Yep. You were high on Mountain Dew.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I used to drink. Remember when they had the big slams? I forgot what they were called. I used to have 2 of those in my backpack at all times.
Yep.
I was just like, gotta have my big slam. So hopefully all of you had a chance. We were not here live last week or with a new show. I did get posted the infamous episode that was supposed to be posted the week before.
The designer sewed.
Yeah. So there was a little mishap with that. It was in standby. It just never published.
It was posted, but not published.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. So
I hate it when that happens.
So
Stuck
I made sure.
In the green room.
That's pretty much where it was. So I was like, oh, why isn't it in my feed? And I was like, oh, because that's why. So I did go back and listen to it once I got it posted again. This is probably like the 5th or 6th time I've listened to that episode. I really feel like it's one of our best interviews because it was so laid back. but Scott was great. I mean, he provided so much information about designers, because at the time, I mean, both of us, every time we talked about designers, we had no idea.
What they're there, they must do something, because
they've got to do something.
But it's like, what do they do? What is that?
Yeah. So he really did great job breaking all that down for us. I did, because he's not with Boom anymore, and I didn't know where he was, and so I did look him up. He's over. He's been at. Is it Tapas Media, TAPAS Media, as doing something there. He's been there just this year, or maybe just this year. I did see on LinkedIn, because I'm a nerd professional. I did see that Tapas and another media company were merging and becoming a bigger company. So that happened. I guess that was announced today, or at least sometime this week. I saw the post today. So things are going on over there. I know that company, and I just didn't spend enough time. I've heard it mentioned in comic sites and stuff like that before. I just can't remember what they're doing. But everybody seemed pretty excited about the merger and the fact that they were going to be growing and everything. So good episode. If I do say so myself, I think we had a lot of fun with that. If you didn't get a chance to listen to it, it's there for you to enjoy. And you don't have to scroll back. It's actually just the previous episode from this one. So I wanted to make sure I got that right there in front of everybody.
All right.
So normally we start off every episode with our Final Order Cutoff rundown and stuff like that, but we're going to change things up a little bit here. Hopefully, I can make all of this technology work so that we can do this. But I want to share a voicemail that we got a couple weeks ago, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it after we finish listening to it. So.
Okay.
Or we can pause it as we go. I'm sharing my screen if you're not following us on YouTube. So hopefully this will sound good. It sounds good to us. So I'll listen to it in post and make sure that it sounds good for everybody listening to this on the podcast. And if it doesn't, I'll put a better copy of it there. So let's go ahead and give it a try.
The host of the Just Another Fanboy podcast, and I wanted to throw together my thoughts in regard to your last episode in which you talked about Six Gun Gorilla. At one point in there, Ed talked about a friend of his, a chum, as you were, who...
You refer to him as a chum?
No, that's Steven's word. Can you see me saying the word chum?
No, that's why I was trying to correct.
Yeah,
I was like,
chum. That's what you feed sharks in my
exactly.
world.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, so
it's
that's
your fish food. Okay.
No, right. Yeah, no.
Who had mentioned to him that this friend didn't quite enjoy Six Gun Gorilla. Well, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. That friend, that acquaintance was me. And after listening to the episode, it did become a bit clear to me why I remember not enjoying Six Gun Gorilla. Now I should clarify that I did read this back in October of 2019. I only know that because I recorded an episode of Just Another Fanboy in which I talked about Six Gun Gorilla. And the reason I recall not enjoying it very much, I feel like the whole idea that the gorilla wasn't real and that there's this deep philosophical message behind the story of Six Gun Gorilla, I think that's what kind of drug me down in the end, because you pick up a book called Six Gun Gorilla that has a freaking gorilla on the cover with a pair of giant six guns. Well, you're not expecting to really have to put a lot of thought into it, I guess.
Okay, that is true.
Dog's got a point.
And let's not lie. Both of us probably thought that. I know I did. I was like, I remember seeing the promotional ads. I'm like, this is gonna be freaking.
We even brought it up on the review this time that it's like, well, it was just short of bait and switch, but there was a big gorilla with six guns.
Yeah, he was there. He was there.
Was he there? Or,
So far, Steven's got a really good point. He's. I totally get it. I totally understand.
Yep.
Yes, I think that's kind of where I'm coming from here. Basically, the point I'm trying to make is by the time I got to the end of this book, it didn't meet the expectations that I thought the book was going to give me going into it, which was just going to be a big bunch of stupid fun, just a big action-packed blockbuster popcorn adventure, just a bunch of big stupid fun. I think that's what I was expecting going into this book. And instead I did get a lot of action there. It was fairly gory in places from what I remember, but it was also a think piece. It made you think. It made you look at life just a little bit differently. And I wasn't in that mind frame at the time. However, I have often found that when it comes to books like this, in which I go into it expecting a big, stupid, fun time adventure and discovering that it's actually something a bit more and that it's something that I wasn't prepared to deal with, that if I go back to it after a considerable length of time, in this case, a number of years, and give it another try, that I tend to enjoy it knowing what I am in for this time. So with that in mind, and because I still own the frickin' thing, I think I'm going to go back and give it another read at some point. I don't know when I'll do that because, of course, I have a giant stack of digital comics to read, but I think I'm going to go back and give that sucker a read. Anyway, I really do enjoy the show. Boom does put out a lot of great books. I wish I had a crap ton of money that I could just throw at Boom Studios every single week and great big swaths of free time to then read all the books I would be able to buy, but I can't and I don't. And that makes me sad. I think what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that your podcast makes me sad because it only reminds me in the end of the money and the time that I just do not have. So, yeah, thanks for that. Well, hello.
Whoops, sorry. That's what we're here for.
You're welcome. That is the entire point for the podcast. So,
oh my goodness.
Now, I'm sorry. Anything you want to add?
No. I am. I love Steven.
Yeah.
And when I tweeted this out saying we were going to do the show, he had said that he was obviously busy doing. He's got his own shows he's trying to do tonight and get edited. He's like, if he had a chance, he might swing by, in the chat and everything like that, which is cool. Hopefully he does. But I did tell him, I said, we know he'll be here in spirit because I knew we were going to be playing the voicemail. So we still get a little bit of Steven in our show, so that's good.
Did you listen to Just Another Fanboy Rewind today?
Yes, I listened to that today because he gave me a heads up. So
you were on there, so
I was on that show.
A bit of reciprocity, I believe that's called. So there we go.
Yeah. So
unintentional as it may be.
Yeah. So if you have not listened to Steven, you don't know who Steven Orr is. I don't know how at this point you don't listen to our show because we talk about it all the time. But he has a podcast called Just Another Fanboy. Definitely look it up. Steven is great. He does all of his new shows as well as he has been uploading all of his old stuff as classic episodes. So he had one that came up today, and there was a couple emails from me. I think this episode was from 2007 or something like that.
I think if not like the end of 9, the beginning of 10. He may have crossed over into January 2010. Which
that's right, because he was talking about December books. That's
right. Yeah. Let you know how long Steven's been at this. Now he did take a life hiatus for a little while, but 2009 is when dude started. So he's in my mind, he's like right around that second, third generation of comic book podcasters. Those of us that were heavily influenced by Comic Geek Speak and maybe didn't immediately jump on after them, but maybe took us a little while to get our stuff going. And so it's that, like, I consider it kind of like second, third generation of comic book podcasters. Yeah. That's where I am. I started my first show in 2009, and I don't have any problem thinking that I'm like the third generation of comic book podcasters.
Yeah. But hopefully you guys go check out his stuff. It's great. I love it. I love listening to it. Even the old stuff is even better.
yes, it is. Before he knew what the hell he was doing.
Exactly. Now he knows what he's doing. So.
Yeah, now he can critique himself. Back then, he didn't care. podcasting at its best. Just record it and put it out there. Another piece of feedback here from the Just Another Fanboy. Just forums. There we go.
We have their forums. Oh crap!
we have a board there, Boom Addiction.
Yes, we do. I keep forgetting to talk about that.
I posted our most recent episode, and we got some feedback, which means that Peter Rios is caught up with this volume of Boom Addiction, because he listened to episode 38 and commented on it.
Nice.
And Peter said, I quote, "Gentlemen, just a general compliment. When it comes to those series I'm reading, want to try, such as WOFT, WTD.
Oh gosh.
We only
find them
when they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Seven Secrets, Once and Future. Those are examples of the want to try. Your conversations do a good job of giving enough information to entice readers without giving it all away. Even though Seven Secrets is close to ending and you talk rather openly about each issue, I still look forward to reading it at some point in the future, even if I may remember things you've said. Kudos on balancing that kind of conversation." And I responded on the board, "Thanks, Peter. I know we want to spill all the beans, but we ultimately want folks to be enticed enough that they try the book. Thanks for listening."
Yeah, and that's a thing. It's almost like I feel like I always say too much, but I'm too into what we're talking about and too into the book.
Yeah.
To sort of it's like it comes out faster than my brain goes, whoa. You may
to
have
go
said
all
too
bland,
much.
you know, we one of the things that we enjoy about doing the show is you and I want to talk about the books.
Oh yeah.
But then secondarily, it's like, oh yeah, but we can't give everything away, can we? Because then it's So I know that some books I talk about, I'll go too far in one direction, and then when I realize that the next recording, I'll pull way back to the other side, and
So at least someone's recognizing that at least we balance ourselves out.
We're trying. He
sees the effort.
Yeah, and if anybody knows, Peter does, because a lot of the books that he talks about are things that he's really into.
Yeah.
Legion comes to mind right off the top of my head, and so I'm sure he tries to keep his feet on that fence, and he's always censuring himself as to, well, when. No, I don't want to give that away. Something happens, and so. But thank you, Peter. Appreciate you listening. And cool beans, you're caught up, man. I don't know what you'll do now. I guess you'll have to find another show to listen. No, don't do that. Just go back and start at the beginning.
I do know a Superman show that he could listen to.
Yes, and you'll catch up on that really quickly because those are short episodes there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about next? Final Order?
Well, let's quickly talk about our editorial changes.
Oh yes, some news. Okay.
So we don't, obviously we bring this up whenever there's changes at the office, but we definitely wanted to recognize the fact that they have made some changes as far as editorial teams and whatnot. So Allison,
Gronowitz.
Thank you.
I don't know. And Allison, if that is not it, I apologize. Please let me know, and I'll be happy to make that correction.
We'll definitely correct it next episode.
Yeah, definitely.
But she's been promoted to editor. She interned at DC, joined Boom as an assistant editor back in 2019. Has been working on a wide variety of Boom stuff and Archaea projects, from single issues like Maul and Jim Henson's Storyteller to original graphic novels like 80 Days, Better Angels, and Short While. Cool. So she's been promoted to editor, so that'll be nice to see her name on a couple books and everything, see what she's got going on. Let's see, and I don't have my glasses on, so I'm trying to read. Ramiro Portnoy has been promoted to associate editor. He joined Boom Studios back in 2019 as an assistant editor, and during his tenure has been instrumental in the development and production of best-selling critical acclaim series such as Something is Killing Children, Berserker, House of Slaughter, and Many Deaths of Layla Starr, and more. Wow. When you add those books to your resume, that's
I was going to say now he would have to be pretty close to the top of our list because we've been digging on all those.
Oh yeah. So good job
and
on
actually, Allison's, Ma made me feel a certain kind of
that. Oh,
way.
for sure, yeah. Yeah,
and-
I don't want to like. Oh yeah, that Maw book and everything that we only
wow, yeah, I got to
gushed
follow
over
her.
for 5 episodes. Oh man,
the short while
was,
I don't believe I've read that,
yeah,
but I've read the others. So
yeah, and then Daphne Cleveland, who we've seen Daphne all over the place. She's been an integral part of Boom since the early days. But she's now going to be overseeing the core imprint of Boombox as its new lead senior editor, which has me super excited. Which I feel like Boombox has been there, but it's sort of been quietly there for the last couple of years. Not as much of a presence as it had back when we were doing like season 1 and 2 of the show.
mm-hmm.
I remember reading a lot of Boombox books.
Oh yeah, and really digging them too.
Yeah, and so like the mixtape anthology books and stuff like that I would love to see again. If you want to do them in Treasury edition, like they were, the first 2 or 3 volumes of it, I'm all for that too. So that'll be pretty excited. She has been an invaluable part of the team since starting at Boom back in 2008. Her potent creativity and excitement has been instrumental in helping drive projects, both licensed and original, to success. For over 6 years, she's been has edited the entire Power Rangers franchise, and I mean, that's been a huge success for them. So that's awesome to hear.
She's who we can ask what the 100 books are.
Oh, there you go.
Right there. She's edited them for the last 6 years, so she would have that list.
Yep. Let's see. Power Rangers, which is Boom Studios' first and only series today to reach 100 issues. In addition to her incredible contributions to many of Boom Studios' licensed properties, Daphne has been integral part of original series and graphic novels such as Lumberjanes, Goldie Vance, Fence, Sacrifice of Darkness, and Flavor Girls. Flavor Girls is a brand new series, which will be starting up. I think the first issue drops. I don't know. It was in last previews. So wasn't it? Yeah, it was last
June.
previews. Yeah, so it'll be June. Yeah. So we've
month.
got a little time for that. So we'll be talking about that with FOC, when that comes rolling up. So that'll be good. But yeah, it was just 3 of them. So that's awesome. Congratulations to all of them. It's always nice to see the folks once being involved and being rewarded for that, being promoted and whatnot. So and it again with Daphne, that's awesome. That she continues to be there and really, really contributing. So I'm looking forward to what Allison.
When Mark Wade was there is when I first saw her name, because he did 15 minutes of Wade and she was his assistant on that.
Yep, that's true.
And that's where, because at that time I wasn't necessarily paying a whole lot of attention. Howdy, Stephen, to the names that weren't creators per se.
Yeah.
But I do remember, because of my voracious podcast consumption, that she helped produce, I think, 15 minutes of Wade.
Yep, that was pretty cool. So entering the chat is Mr. Stephen Orr. We were just talking about you, Stephen, a little earlier. We played your voicemail finally.
And we spoke positively and fondly, just
yes, we
so
did.
that you're aware.
Yep. We felt you in spirit. We just knew you would eventually find your way to us, Stephen. So let's see. What other news is there? Oh, the Eisner Awards.
Yes.
We'll go ahead and cover that.
I thought I had something up, but it has gone away. Or has it? No, it hasn't. Here it is. All right. So 10 nominations. I don't know. Somebody, as I give these out, count them. They were nominated for Best Single Issue / One Shot for Mouse Guard, The Owl Hen Caregiver, and Other Tales by David Peterson, which, man, I miss his stuff. The only place that I've been seeing his stuff are on covers for one of the Usagi books coming out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Best Continuing Series, Something is Killing the Children by James Tynion IV and Werther Deladera. Best Limited Series, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr by Ram V and Felipe Andrade? Do you remember how it was said? I know Andrade is the wrestler.
That's what I was. That's what it was like. It looks like the way he spells it. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Philippe, I apologize. Again, any of these names that I mispronounce, except the titles of the pretend things, don't correct me on those because that's not important. But your name is important. So if I mispronounce it, let me know and I'll make that correction, please. Best publication for teens, Wind. Yes, it's coming back. By James Tiny in the Fourth and Michael Dialinus. Yep. Best penciler inker or penciler inker team, Felipe Andrade, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. And so I guess he is like solo, not the team aspect of that. Best coloring, Felipe Andrade and Ines Amaro for The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. Best lettering, Ed Dukeshire, Once and Future, and Seven Secrets. There's got to be more at Boom that he's doing than that right now, but I guess that's all that somebody saw. Best writer, Ram V, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, and Swamp Thing, and Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, and Venom, just to list the other books at the time that he was nominated that he was doing. Best writer, James Tynan the Fourth, House of Slaughter, Something is Killing the Children, Wind, The Nice House on the Lake, The Joker, Batman, DC Pride 2021, The Department of Truth, Razor Blades, which Razor Blades is his in-house produced horror mag. And I think he's released 5 issues of that. And maybe right now that's kind of on the side as he is doing these other things. I'm not sure if that is as active.
Well, I mean, I know he's got a couple other ones that are on his Tiny Onion Substack. Thank you.
Oh yeah, the UFO one. The
closet and
the weird monster ones. Whatever that one's called, in the closet, and maybe there's a 4th that he's been doing.
So he's a little busy.
And best cover artist, Julian Totino Tedesco, Just Beyond Monstrosity, Dune, House Atreides, Action Comics, The Walking Dead Deluxe. And those are the nominations. So what is that? 1,
There's 10 of them.
3, 4, 5. Okay, cool beans. So it was 10. And the Will Eisner Award is probably one of the more, I think, cherished by comic book creators. It is voted on by their peers, right? Or do we vote on that one?
I forget which one it is. I think the Eisners are the no, it's the Harvey ones that are the ones that maybe it's the Eisners. I have the committee because I remember something about Chris Arndt being part of that.
I apologize, folks, for not being able to keep those apart, but yeah, the Harveys are one, and the Eisners. Those are probably 2 of the more. And I don't.
Oh yeah, they're nominated by the industry. They're the Will Eisner Comic Industry Awards Committee. So
okay, so their peers essentially is who votes on.
Yes,
and then so it's much more insular.
Yeah,
and not to take away from the fans, but to take away from the fans. It's voted by people who know what the heck they're doing. So
it's true.
Hey, I got no problems with that. I got no beef.
Yeah, so these will be presented at Comic-Con International, and it's the Harvey Awards that are presented at Baltimore. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay. So Boom, they did pretty good. Particularly, when I saw Al Hen Caregiver, I was like, wasn't that like 3 or 4 years ago? But no, that was just at the beginning of this particular cycle. Is why it was included. So
not too long ago. So
there we go. Lots of good stuff, and I think most, if not all, of these we have been pretty keen on.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I think we liked all of these.
Yeah,
I don't know that we've talked about all of them on this volume.
The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, we didn't talk as much about because I think both of us were kind of, I would say, hesitant in getting into it, but I don't know, the first couple issues, I don't think either one of us were really into. I know you were a little more into it than I was.
It didn't seem to catch until like the latter.
Oh, it's like the 3rd or 4th issues.
Half
when
or
it
so.
Hit for me.
Yeah. And then I think we started before or after Alhen came out.
No, we talked about that.
Oh, did we talk about it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
we
did.
gushed about that. We
Okay.
were excited.
David Peterson, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we're starved for his stuff
I
right
know.
now.
That's all we talked about. That and Stan Sakai and how we're happy he's given them work so we at least can see it on the shelf and
Yeah.
all that. So all right, cool. So yeah, now let's jump into FOC. So FOC Final Orders cutoff is May 30th, which is next Monday. Check with your local comic shop if you're using FOC, and I haven't browsed out to Boom yet, so let me do that real quick. Oh, there's a lot of no covers. But yeah, FOC again, May 30th. Check with your local shop if you're using FOC. If you're ordering via that, make sure you know when they're submitting their orders. Some do them Saturdays, some do them Sundays, some do them Mondays. They wait till the last second. So either way, make sure that you check in with them if you're using that. If you're like me, as far as like when, especially specifically Boom, when a book hits a second or third print or something to that effect, usually that'll show up on FOC on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And so you're definitely not going to see it on Monday or Tuesday unless the book just sells out before it ever hits the shelves. So, and that's possible. So always pay attention toward the end of the week to get a full rundown, especially if you wait till Friday. That gives you a real good idea of what's going on. So to run these down, we've got the all-new Firefly number 5, cover A and B, which if you're looking at Previews World, which is what we're using as our source, there are no covers for any of these books for some reason that's loaded up on their website. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. So I apologize if you're watching us on YouTube and you're like, hey, that'd be great if I knew what the cover was. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It would be.
I agree.
So
makes the decision a little bit easier.
I know these covers have been solicited back when solicitations first came out. So whoever had Previous World, just they hadn't got around to it yet. It's okay. No big deal.
No comment.
So yeah, there's a supply chain issue. There's
supply chain, baby formula, tankers in the harbor. Yeah, I don't know.
So, one second, let me get my hair.
And I apologize. I make fun of the baby formula because it's emblematic of what's going on. But no, I do believe that is occurring. And yes, I do agree. Yeah. It's a very serious issue. So yeah. I should apologize for using the baby formula to push my own personal political beliefs on the poo-poo going on right now. The baby formula doesn't count. I apologize.
The children. Buffy 97, number 1. There's a cover A and B, and then there's a cover E, and then there's a BG. I don't know what the BG stands for. But there's at least an E, so there's going to be a C and D in there somewhere. So that'll be cool. Kind of curious on what those are. We'll see. We can probably guess based off of previous solicitations and stuff like that what those might be.
Someone at Previews would put up the covers. We maybe could get some idea.
Killer Affairs of the State, number 5 of 6. Really feel like that book is I feel like that book should be a little further along. Should be at 6, I would hope.
Some heavy stuff went down this month in it.
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah. I'm super excited to talk about it.
Kind of changed their world there.
Yep. Magic Hidden Planeswalker number 304. There's a A and B and a C connecting cover, and then there's a FOC reveal. There's an FOC reveal cover that says image coming soon. So take that as you would. The irony of that.
The cover B, Gist, is that Paul? Gist? Paul Gist? However you pronounce that?
Maybe.
Is that who think of that? Oh, wow.
It could be. Yeah. That would be cool.
Dude. And that is one of our books up for coverage in this episode, as is Killer Affairs of the State. So not this particular issue, of course, but an issue.
In the future. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the trade paperback volume 4 is out. And then the Realist original graphic novel hardcover, Last Day on Earth. This is the 3rd volume of the Realist. So if you've been catching up with that, that's good. Vampire Slayer, parentheses, Buffy, because you didn't know what that was. Number 3, there's a cover A. I've been picking up the red blood foil stamp things. I mean, there's only 2 issues out right now, obviously, but they're done by Francesco Francavilla. I didn't need the foil red blood thing, whatever. It's just the covers are super cool by him. They just look a little freakier with the red glowing foil. So I was like, oh, okay, sure, we'll pick that up. And then We Only Find Them When They're Dead, number 11. Thank God that book's back for its final arc. So we got a cover A and a B. I have noticed that they do have at least the last couple of issues have had 1 in 10s. I've not seen them in a store, but I've just noticed them online.
And isn't this issue 11 the return of that 3rd volume?
Yes.
Isn't this the first issue? Okay.
Yes, first issue of the last arc. Yeah. And this
So
will
there
be
you go.
50 years into the future.
Peter, when you listen, man, if you can get the first couple trades and read them, this means what, Chris? 4 weeks from now, roughly, is when this will be in stores?
Yeah, 4 to 5 weeks, yeah.
So the end of June, the beginning of July. So that gives you time to slot that into your reading and get caught up on that book if you're interested.
Yep. And then coming out next week is all new Firefly number 4. Was that? No, that's this week. Hold on a sec. Let me get to next week. Did I click? I must have clicked on the wrong thing. I apologize. 2 weeks out. There we go. I was like, wait a second. I know what those.
Yeah,
I have those books sitting here on my.
Yeah, that's the one. Hey,
they're sitting here on my table here. So next week, not a whole lot, which gives us an opportunity to talk about what we're going to do for next episode here in a second. Grim number 1, second printing of that. So if you missed out on the first issue, here's a potential chance that you'll get this. Hold a sec.
Why do you say potential chance, Chris?
Hold on. Before we go further into that, Mr. Rios is in the house.
Peter, yeah, dog.
So he's read the first 5. He says, I want to read it in chunks, so I'll read the next arc sometime over the summer.
Sweet. Summer, and then cool.
Good to hear. Glad you're catching up with it. I am doing split screen operation here, so that's why my mouse keeps going all over the place. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I apologize. I'm trying to.
Chris has always suffered from loose mouse. Don't worry about it, guys. That's just
I have a completely new setup here at home, and I'm trying to figure out how to get a new microphone, the headset, new monitor.
Yeah, we know, Chris. Nobody working, everything out in the harbor and the boats.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay,
it's
man.
difficult.
We got you.
So so the second printing. Apparently, if you're looking for the second printing, if you're a collector like me, this is bad for you because there's allocations already with the second printing.
Now, why did they say that it was allocated?
They said it was the allocation was, if I remember correctly, so correct me if I'm wrong, was that they had to get the order in. Grim number 1 sold out before it hit the stands.
Right.
And so they could not, they attempted to do FOC on it like that same week, but at the same time went ahead and put an order in thinking like whatever the percentage is that they typically do.
Right.
And so they thought it would cover it. This happened with a couple other stuff they've done in the past. It sold out way before it hit the shelves. So they made an attempt to have enough of a second print, and apparently the demand for number 1 was so great that for the second printing they just don't have enough second printings to meet the demand, and so those issues will now be allocated to shops depending on however they allocate it.
So it was a double whammy. They had to get orders in before they knew how many to order. But also, it's my understanding, they wanted to get that in so that this book was out before 2 hit the stands.
Right. Yeah.
Because some story device, whatever, appearance of someone, whatever, the actual Reaper, is supposed to appear in 2, and they wanted to be sure that everyone
was on board. Yeah.
Right. And because of the demand and because of the allocation and because there's a third printing also, which FOC'd this past Monday.
Yeah.
So there will also be a third printing, at least, of issue 1. Now, I suppose, will come out after issue 2. So it's just meant to fill in gaps rather than hurry and get it out to everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah. So for anybody that listens to this show and was bitching on Facebook, that is why it was allocated, guys. Okay. And girls, just so that you know, not because, as far as I can tell, because Boom wants to play any shenanigans or whatever, which I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. But what I did hear and what I did read seemed very viable to me as an explanation for what was going on. So I'm okay with what they said. No conspiracy in my heart for this one.
Yeah. And the downside of it all is that, and we've talked about this in the past, Boom has positioned themselves with the success of Something is Killing, Berserker, House of Slaughter. They have positioned Once and Future. I mean, even because that's even before Something is Killing.
Mm-hmm.
They've sort of positioned themselves that certain, and I can't tell you what the reason, how they decided, and it's not Boom, it's the speculator market, have decided, okay, this book at Boom is going to be the one that we go after.
Right.
And there's, now we talked about Grimm #1. We really like the issue. We think it's a great series, good start. Do I think it is the best thing on the shelf in the last year? No. I think it's really good, though. I think it's a good first issue, and I'm hoping if you didn't get a chance to get the first printing, that you do try, find a second printing or a third printing.
It's worth trying to get.
It's definitely worth getting,
for sure.
But I do think the people that are complaining that they're not going to be able to get a second printing or a third printing are not the people who didn't get a first printing.
Right.
Most of those people are hoarding.
Right.
And Ed and I are both in a lot of different Facebook groups about Boom stuff. And we've seen the photos and the clout chasers and whatnot.
Wow.
Like I joke. I mean, and I'll even do it here. I joke about, the variant covers and stuff that I get. I own one copy of this. This is the 1 in 25 for issue 22 of Something is Killing the Children. I own one copy. I don't know 10 copies of it. And
I'll take that even a step further, Chris. This is my confessional.
no.
Please forgive me, Chris.
Sinned. Here we go.
The only issues of Something is Killing that I have are the Slaughter Pack issues.
Okay,
now, after those
you
were
said that
announced,
while I was drinking. That's not a good thing.
I'm sorry.
After
those were announced, I went and bought first printings of 16 to 21 or whatever the outliers were. But those initial ones, they were so hot I didn't even want to get near them.
I totally get that.
But the Slaughter Packs, I'm like, okay. So those are my first 15 issues of Something is Killing, is the Slaughter Pack issues. Yeah. Well, but that also shows you how much I waited for it to cool off.
True, yeah.
But, so, so that's me.
So and this is not a rant for me. I'm getting on top, I'm angry at speculators and whatnot. It's a part of the market that I've been a part of. So
get off my lawn, you kids.
Right. So it's not like I'm bitching at these people for what they're doing.
Plastic out of here.
I do.
Free the book. Free the book.
I do get angry when I see people who bought 20 or 30 copies with the intent of holding on to then turn around and sell them 5 years from now.
And there is nothing about the fact that they like to post pictures of that. You just want to say, hey, nice haul there, mail organ. Way to go.
Right, yeah.
I got 8 of this one and 7 of this one and only 2 of that one. And I'm like, and you got all of those just because you want that many, right? Get out of here.
And it's because the book is really, really good.
It's so good. I want to see it. Yeah. Okay.
It's a difficult road. So.
Yeah. Okay.
For us Puritans. So So yeah,
So
Jim
what
Henson's
else is coming out next
Storyteller, Shapeshifters number 4 comes out next week.
Good book.
We got 3 covers on that one. I'm looking forward to the Christian Ward cover for cover A and cover C. But it's Christian Ward's. I've loved his stuff for as long as I've seen him do stuff. It is so, his style has changed some. It used to be like really, really sketchy and organic, and it's sort of honed in a little more. But I still do. I just don't know where they are anymore. Like I had original sketches and stuff from him when he did Spawn covers, and he just had a bunch of them, and I just happened to be like someone who followed him on Twitter, and he was like, all right, I'm just randomly selecting and I'm gonna send you a bunch of sketches, and those were super cool. But he's always been someone, when he does a book or does a cover or whatever, I'm really going to look for it and hopefully can pick it up. So it's good that he's doing this series, because obviously I'm already picking this one up. So Magic number 15 will be out next week. There is 5 covers for that. And then Once in the Future number 26, we get 3 covers for that. And then Vampire Slayer number 1 gets a second printing. So if you missed out on that one, it was an interesting issue. We'll talk about issue 2 here this episode for a brief second. So a couple books to check out. Due to sort of the condensed list of books that we have for the next episode, as compared to the wide variety of books that we have to talk about tonight, we're going to push Sirens. We were going to talk about George Perez's Sirens until next episode. It'll give us more time.
Give people what to expect here. We will be talking about Sirens. Okay. Or
issue number 6.
Perhaps we'll be talking about Sirens.
That's
Sirens.
Lovely.
Or for Chris, we'll be talking about Sirens.
Oh my God. I don't have that. That's beautiful. If you didn't check out last episode, the classic episode with Scott Newman, he did talk about, because at the time of the episode being recorded was when Sirens was coming out. Mm-hmm. And so he did talk about sort of how they did cover design and logo design and stuff like that. That was they try to be different from what people or fans of George Perez were used to seeing, because they were trying to get new readers and new people to check out their stuff. So the design was a lot different. Take
the third screen down so it's just us two.
Oh yeah, hold on a second. My mouse is on the other screen. There it is.
Cover for issue 6. Look at that.
Hold on a second. That's better.
George Perez.
It's beautiful. So beautiful.
All 18 Sirens.
Yep.
And in the Pen and Ink, the first issue, each Pen and Ink had 2 issues of whatever series it was talking about. And the first issue in there is inked, but the second issue in there is only pencils.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's pretty sweet.
Not corrected pencils. Like it's my understanding that what they'll do is they'll ink and then they'll erase the rest of the pencil. No. This has all of the marks for that second issue.
Very nice.
It was a class unto itself just to look at that and try to see and learn and understand.
That's pretty cool. I definitely have to hunt that one down. I did see a couple of copies of it on eBay for sale, but they were like in bundles of other pen and inks.
Right.
I was like, I don't know, $45 isn't a bad price for 3 of them. Considering I think they were like 14 or 15 bucks a piece.
Yeah, they were about that, or maybe a little bit more when they came.
Maybe they were like $20, like the last couple of them. Yeah. So good stuff.
So next week, Sirens, and also we'll be talking about previews for that just came out.
Yeah.
We'll push it to next week because of how many books we're wanting to look at here.
Yeah. So we're a little under an hour into the show. We hadn't talked about our books yet. So hang on to your hats, because we got a lot of books we want to talk about.
Let's go.
So let me. I guess Alice Ever in our list of books, Alice Ever After #2 is first on tap. So written by Dan Panosian, created by Dan Panosian, illustrated by Giorgio Spalletta. Is that right? Spalletta? Did I almost hit that right?
Giorgio, yeah, I believe so.
Wow.
And
he does the London illustrations. I like how they did that. And then Dan Panosian does the Wonderland illustrations. Fabiana Mascolo does the colors and is lettered by Jeff Eckelberry. And then there's quite a few covers. And then Madison Goyette is the designer on the book. So, so to be quick, we won't do a massive recap of the issue and stuff like that. Last issue, Alice, she is basically a drug addict, and is her family is trying to figure out what to do with her, trying to get her help and everything, and she eventually goes on her own to check herself into basically a rehab, which is staffed by every amalgam of Wonderland characters
yes,
that you can find.
And the scene in the common room, I'm looking at that, trying to pick out the ones that aren't on. I'm like, I bet that's so and so.
Yep.
So and so. There's the walrus. And
yeah. So this particular issue is mainly that is her sort of going back in between Wonderland, which is sort of her dream state, and then coming back into reality, which it's still not clear to me if it is all in her head, because she seems very dreamscapey nonstop. Like it's maybe in her mind she's seeing Wonderland, but in reality is what we're seeing, what's going on exterior.
The characters you just mentioned, she envisioned, however, previous to this, but yet they bear a striking resemblance to these people. Now, how is that possible if that was then and this is now? Right? I mean, we have a time gap that unless she has been here before,
right,
and she based then on these people we're seeing. If not, how in the world would they be so similar, those that are similar? That's the thing that struck me. And just to add credence to the fact that she is addicted to drugs, she downs a bottle of liquid morphine near the end of this issue.
Yeah, just for kicks.
With her buddy. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So we get introduced this other character, Matthew. I was under the impression he was a doctor there. Of some kind. He is a staff member of some kind, because he has keys to the janitor's closet, which is where her friend Morgan, I forgot what his
Morgan. I didn't write it down,
but it's the one that got killed in the last episode or last issue. So he apparently worked at this hospital and was the janitor, had access. This is where he was getting all the drugs from.
Right.
So he is, this Matthew character is very friendly with Alice, as far as he does his best to get her away from Tweedledee and Tweedledum, or whoever their real names are, but that's who their Wonderland character is. Because they were basically just having their way with her, and he comes in and sort of gets her away from them, and then just sort of gives her a tour of the hospital. She eventually goes and meets with the lady who's the
Queen of Hearts.
It's the Queen of Hearts, but who is in charge of the hospital?
Right.
I was trying to think of what her administrative name is.
Theodore and Thomas are the
that's
two
it,
dudes' name. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, the real world versions of everybody is very spot on to what their Wonderland character was, based off of, like you said, when she was a child.
Right.
So has she been here before? I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see how that's explored, if that's explored and sort of.
Oh, it's got to be explored. It's too in your face. I mean, it's too obvious.
So we'll see. The artwork in the issue, it's still it's amazing. It's great. Both of them. Yeah.
Panosian, of course, but Spoletta's stuff is just
So I was super excited to see it. I think it only gets better. It's only getting better. So
her dude Thomas can't be a resident. He has to work there because he met her out.
That's true. Yeah.
So he can't be committed, and I'm throwing up the quotes here. So so he's got to have free reign enough to leave because so even more so, it's like, well, because this I kind of, as the issue went on, I kind of was of the opinion that he was another one of the clients, whatever you want to call him,
right
there, but then he was out free when they first met because they met outside. So I'm not sure what his shtick is, but something's going on. And the entire thing was narrated by Snowdrop and Kitty.
Yeah, I mean they did the first issue too, so it's I like the fact that they're doing that too.
Well, and so even more of that playing on what is and what is not real, because you have these two cats talking. Narrating her story about characters that we have seen before, but this is the first time she's there. So it's almost as something I noticed. I started reading on Sirens. There's a lot of time displacement in that story.
Yeah, for sure.
And this has a similar level of some type of displacement. I don't know if it's time, if it's in her brain and in real life, but there's a lot of moving back and forth between probably at least two different settings, if you will, two different realities. So a lot of connections, a lot of similarities, but you are definitely told, A is A and B is B.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see how all of this meshes into one whole, because we're only seeing pieces and parts.
Yeah.
So seeing it all come together as one thing will be interesting.
And I kind of I mean, the whole point of this book is to be a very trippy story,
right?
Because we're sort of having to experience almost through Alice's eyes. So I appreciate the fact that it does kind of do that, because it is sort of it's leaving you disoriented enough as you read it to kind of like like you said, something is going on there, but it's trying to figure out what it is.
So do you think she's the POV? I bet Snowdrop and Kitty is the POV. I bet they're the narrator. Obviously they're the narrators, but I think it's their point of view that we're seeing this from, because they're even in the panel gutters up here.
That's true.
Remember seeing them playing along the top there and everything?
Right.
Yeah. So not only are they narrating, but they're appearing, doing other things. So I bet that they will be our POV characters.
It's going to be interesting. Looking forward to the next issue, though. This is a good issue.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. All right. What you want to do next?
Let's talk about Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power.
Oh, I totally forgot to read that. I bought it. I have it sitting
did
right.
You? And you didn't read it?
Yeah. It's right here.
Man.
See? I've got it right here.
Dude.
Dang it. It was in my stack of stuff, and I just totally forgot to read it. Dang it.
So issue 3.
I'll read along as you talk about it.
Okay. I'll talk.
It's a gorgeous looking book, though.
Oh, it is.
Oh man, it's so good looking.
Story is by Cullen Bunn. Man, I hope we can get an interview with him.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'm working on it.
Just between you and I.
Working on it.
No spoilers. Art by Freddie Williams II. Colors by Andrew Dahlhaus. Letters and design by Joanna Natali, I hope. And those are the principles that we usually follow. Editor, associate editor, editorial assistant also are listed. So we have the Dino Megazord, I believe is which of these Megazords this is, fighting Eye Guy, Rhino Blaster, and Gigan Gigan. I'm not sure. Gigan, which is that's the Godzilla side of the story. Eye Guy and Rhino Blaster are the Power Rangers side. So they're teaming up on we have 3-on-1. It's a trios match with 2 of the guys out of the ring and only 1 left in the ring, man. So we see that all the time. Coming up this Sunday. No, never mind. So the Megazord, the Power Rangers are depleted, having last issue and now mainly last issue fought Godzilla, and he kind of rung their bell a little bit. And there were some other monsters that Rita threw against them, so they're down powered right now. Haven't had a chance to rest, but they're holding their own. We see. Well, okay, let's hold up here. Rita is still mechanizing to do what she wants to do through a lot of the story. It pertains particularly to the Green Ranger. They seem to have an ongoing thing here. What I would like is someone who is a big Power Rangers fan on, I believe, page 7, but it's a double page spread where there's a whole bunch of Power Rangers monsters. I was not able to locate anybody that had read the book online and had listed who all these monsters were. 2, 4, 6, 8.
Oh,
10,
you mean
12,
with Scorpina
14.
and Goldar?
Yeah. And all the other monsters are in the background.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, that one's not going to be me.
Welcome to Angel Grove sign. And
Yeah,
I mean, there's a bunch of them there. So if anybody listening knows or can do, Doug S says he's really enjoying Alice Ever After so far as well. Cool beans, Doug. So are we, man. Anybody knows who these monsters are and can list them for me, let me know so that I'll write them down in case they show up in the story later on. I did my due diligence at the end, and that was pretty cool what I found out. But so there's a Freddie Williams double page of a whole bunch of the Mighty Morphin monsters there. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, our Megazord does prevail with the timely assistance of one rising from the depths 30 stories high monster, breathing fire, his head in the sky.
Oh, wow.
For any of you that can tell me what that's from, let me know if you recognize that. There's a ditty that goes along behind that too, by the way. I just didn't want to sing it because I'd give it away. So there, as typically happens with the good guys, they get together, and if they don't know each other, the good guys always fight first, right? Because there's this misunderstanding of, well, I'm the good guy and you're not me, so you must be the bad guy. And so that's what happened in the second issue between the Megazord and Godzilla. And Godzilla only has one, of course, walnut-sized brain to try to figure this out. The Megazord's got 5 human brains to figure this out, and they didn't get it. So they still fought. Well, Godzilla kind of helps them out here, evens the scales a little bit. The Megazord, the Power Rangers, they help Godzilla too. And between the two, they kind of bring peace and goodwill to this Earth momentarily. Well, ultimately, Rita ups the stakes. And with the help of Scorpina, to finish out the issue, to assert the bad guy's dominance on the battlefield, Rita sends out a hugely mutated Scorpina along with Megagurus, Komanga, and Kamacuras.
Wow. 3
Godzilla bad guys. So they enter the fray. They're all controlled. The Godzilla monsters are controlled by the Zillions or Zillians, who tell Rita, yeah, we got, we can help, but we're doing so much. We don't know if we're going to be able to keep controlling the monsters or, what's going to happen. But yeah, we can throw them out there. And she's like, okay, do it. And so because it takes dude, the sculptor dude for Rita, whatever his name is. It just left my brain. Takes him a little while to sculpt new monsters to send out there. So they don't have the time because they need to redouble their offensive against Godzilla and the Megazord. And so the Zillions send out 3 of those Godzilla monsters. And again, it is Kamacuras, Kumonga, and Megagurus. And so that's where we end. The 4 of them going up against probably, because we only see them on the final panel, going up against the Dino Megazord and Godzilla.
Yep. Cool. I cannot believe I forgot to read that.
Oh,
man,
this book is so much fun to read, man. You know, you've got that side story about, well, you know, Rita taking over the Green Ranger, and I'm like, who cares?
Yeah,
kaiju fight. That's over here. Let's see that, and not just kaiju fight, but kaiju as rendered by Freddie Williams II.
Oh yeah,
I'm not sure.
He's so good.
The artist Stokely, who did some Godzilla work, comes to mind
Oh
also.
yeah.
But Freddie Williams's Godzilla and Godzilla monster work is, and not to mention his big ugly Power Ranger monsters too. But they're a little bit, they're a little bit easier to define because they're typically just a giant, slightly mutated something we already know. These Godzilla monsters, man, they ain't nothing like them. Most of them, some of them, Mothra, my personal favorite, but you know, most of them are just these ugly mutated, and Freddie Williams just knocks that stuff out.
Yep, he's so good, so good. All right, let's do House Slaughter real quick.
House of Slaughter, all right.
So House Slaughter number 6. This is part 1 of Scarlet. It's a brand new story arc. This is story by James Tynion IV and Sam Johns. Story script by Sam Johns, illustrated by Letizia Kennedy.
That might be Letitia, Litizia, but I don't know if it's a male or female, or I don't know what the gender is to know if it is Letitia. If not, maybe it's Letizia Caronisi.
Wow, we're good at this.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. I'll make a comment about the art style here in a minute, but
it's also colored by Francesco Segala, lettered by N World Design, and the design and development is also by Werther Deladera, who is one of the creators of the concept with James Tynion IV.
Yep. And designers Michelle Inkley. So brand new story arc. So we're getting into the Scarlet face masks, that group, who are basically, well, I say basically, there was a great hold on, let's see if I can pull it up real quick. There's a great line in here that says trying to describe who the Scarlets are. So Scarlets, however, see to how the house is run. Sometimes for generations we run red because we're the lifeblood of the house. If some confuse us for butlers, that's on you. Talking to Ed, I think its name is Edwin.
One of the Scarlets talking to the other, or to another, not the other, but
So Edwin. Edwin's our lead character in this particular arc. He is very book knowledge, very, very smart as far as that goes. He is the issue opens up as he's playing chess against a white mask who has no arms. So we can only imagine.
What's his name?
Well,
Bait.
Edwin. Yeah, Edwin
Bait
reveals his name is
name.
Bait. Yeah.
Bait. Yeah, that was. I was like, oh, you guys.
That's mean. But it makes sense with the white masks for sure.
What would his name be if he was laying in a pile of leaves? Russell.
Bro, oh God.
I'm sorry.
Is this what we're doing? Is this what we've come to?
If he was laying in front of a door?
It's Matt. Yeah.
Matt, yeah. If he was on the wall?
I don't know. art. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Holy cow.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad.
Just bad joke after. But anyway, so Edwin loses a chess match against Bait, and so he's getting chastised about that, and so in his defense, he says that he has studied, read books and everything about playing chess and everything, but he never read anything that described how to play against someone with Bait's disability, of not having arms. So he didn't know how to play against him. So, okay. So
Yeah,
I was like, that's a weak excuse.
that makes a difference. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah. Now, see, I took it to mean that Bait was not as complete in the dome as others are.
That might be true.
But after reading this issue, neither is Edwin.
Right.
He's kind of different.
Yes.
So
I don't. Okay, so I don't want to go too long on this, but Edwin definitely seems a unique character amongst himself. He is sent on a mission to look into some ruckus. We'll just say a potential monster that could be there, or it could just be wildlife that he sort of sent there to sort of look into the matters. He definitely does not seem to be super concerned about anybody that's having to deal with this tragic event. He's very and I immediately thought of some sort of Asperger's or something like that.
Yeah, that he was on the spectrum.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's true or not, but at least that it was sort of the vibe that it gave me, that I've seen that sort of attitude portrayed. So
detachment kind of.
Yeah. So I'm curious if that is what it is, or he's just that way.
We did see his familiar, or whatever they're calling their as well. And
it was different.
When he uses it, adults cannot see the results of what they did.
Yeah.
But yet the red mask at Central could see it.
Yeah.
And he's an adult.
Yeah, it's weird, but I think it's more because they're aware of
okay.
What.
So not being an adult, it's the fact of what he does that he's trained to.
Yeah, he's trained to see it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I was like, oh,
I mean, it's
so
a guess.
Adults can't. Oh, like they can't see. Okay, I follow you there. Hermes, by the way, is the name of his familiar.
Yep.
Hermes.
It's very interesting. As far as we're intentionally not saying a whole lot about this because there's not a whole lot to say about this issue. It's more about us getting to know Edwin, and as far as if you look at it as a first issue, I think it does a good job of giving you him in a lot of different situations with a lot of different people. He's an interesting character.
I want to come back. So the first issue worked.
Oh yeah. So and I love the last page of him on the boat and everything, sort of at the mast. I was like, that is just a great drawing. That's a great page. So I totally dig the art. It reminds me a lot of Something Is Killing, where there's art and everything. It's very spot on. It's not copying it. It is in the same vein of it.
Yes, you definitely can tell that this is the same world as Erica, and we also find out that this is occurring concurrently with Erica. Also, for those of you that try to place things, this is going on after she has decided she's going to freelance because there's mention made of it.
That's what she's doing.
Of that. Well, yeah, she went freelance, man. I wrote.
She said, "Screw you guys, I'm out."
Well, that's freelance. She got tired of working for the man. As if we all could do that, that's what we all would say.
There you go.
names, so I can keep up with names. The only note that I took was that was cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you because I know how you felt about the last arc, so that's good.
Oh,
Now this arc could totally change,
yes.
in a second, but
This
at
is
least as far as a
more
first issue, on
of
board.
what I wanted the book to do.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah. So good stuff. So all right, what's next?
All right, let's take a look at Magic: The Hidden Planeswalker.
Cool.
Written by Margaret Scott, illustrated by Fabiano Mascolo and French Carlomagno, with background assists from Leah Caballero, colored by Francesco Segala, with assists by Gloria Martinelli, lettered by Ed Dukeshire, and designed by Grace Park. This, all of these boom books actually can be found on the Magic the Gathering fiction wiki.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that want to catch up on everything, because it does a really good job of putting everything together that Boom has done with their 14 issues and 2 one-shots and a third one coming out. Well, this isn't a one-shot. This is a mini. But so our main person, our protagonist, Liliana Vess, or at least that's what she's going by now. She's had several names. She is a planeswalker. That is a magic user that has accumulated enough power, either through the knowledge of spells and or the use of artifacts, to break the barriers between essentially dimensions. She can walk from one plane to another. That is the pinnacle of magic using in Magic the Gathering's whole universe. Now, I would think that those that are true planeswalkers would not be that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were talked about in this one issue. So I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
there can't be that many of you people, man. How is it that? So because she is one, Lillian Vess, she was involved with one named Gideon Jura, who she nicknamed Beef Slab. I can only imagine how they were, what kind of knowledge they had of each other. Merit Lodge or Lage, Tezzeret. One is dead and the other is trying to get Liliana to do stuff. And then we're introduced to a fifth one in this issue named Maeve, I believe is how you pronounce it, who actually Liliana rescues, even though she is this evil-hearted necromantic witch, only by another name starting with a B. And that's what she wants to be known as. She's good with that, but she saved somebody, and she's like, "Oh no, did I really do that?" Lots of these 2 issues of the Hidden Planeswalker, and what I've read about, the one shot that is in the previews about the big lion-looking dude.
Oh yeah.
These though. I believe that this weekend I'm going to sit down and I'm going to catch up on Magic. It has just finally piqued my interest enough. This was the story is interesting, but something about this issue to me, it was just really well written and it was well paced and it gave out hints, and then of those hints, just enough information to take, 1 or 2 off the board, but leave the rest there. Maybe add another hint that they didn't completely vet,
Mm-hmm.
and explain for you. And it just, I guess that, that is the pacing of the writing more so than the book per se. But I am really, really interested in not only this person, but her connection, Vessa's connection to the greater world, especially when I found out that she was involved with this Gideon Jura, to the extent that she looked at him as a hero, and he is dead now, apparently. So that must have occurred, and I believe we ran into that in the metal one shot that occurred in the
Oh yeah.
main series
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along the way. So I want to read about that, and if I'm there, there's what 12 or 13 already, maybe 14 issues out already, and that'll just I've already read metal, did 2 issues of this. that'll put me in good position to talk about Magic, which is what, next week, right? Is the next issue?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you said so. Maybe I'll be able to talk about that.
Yeah.
Excellent art, excellent fantasy art. Now, keep in mind this is fantasy and magic. It's a little different than high magic. You don't have all the different races, although you do have different races, but that's not so far a crux of the story. The only in the magic book it is, because there is a group and they come from the different planes, and so they are of different body types and shapes and whatnot. Everybody here was pretty much humanoid, and pink skinned humanoid at that. The one girl, Dina, she looked like broccoli, kind of, or maybe spinach colored, but she had one head, 2 arms and 2 legs, so she was humanoid. But yeah, just everything about this is the kind of stuff that I used to envision when I broke open a Dragonlance or a Forgotten Realms novel back in the day. And I think that's what has really drawn me to this, is that it seems to have that same feel, but it also has the visuals. Of course, back in the day, it was all prose, but so yeah, looking forward to continuing with this and expanding my knowledge of the Magic universe here at Boom.
Cool.
Did you read this, Chris?
I skimmed through it. I didn't have a chance to finish reading it. But much like like you said, it is. And I probably should take your follow your lead on this and get caught up on it, because I've read the last 2 or 3 issues. I talked about it here on the show of the main series, but there are previous issues like in between like 5 and 10 or whatever I haven't read yet.
Okay.
So probably going back and rereading that and catching up, because my whole thing was I was so hung up on trying to understand the terminology and all this other stuff, like what exactly Planeswalker, the way you described it, that's all I need to know. But I was trying to make too big of a deal out of it.
Right.
Once I let go of that, I've been thoroughly enjoying this series. So last issue was really good as far as this miniseries goes, and like I said, I just kind of skimmed through this one, so I'll finish reading it hopefully this weekend. But yeah, I've finally enjoying what they're doing with Magic, and with Jed McKay doing the main series. I've been a big fan of his over with his work at Marvel and everything. So I'm glad to see him doing sort of more stuff outside of that, and he's just as good, if not better, when you give him sort of. It's not that he's got free reign, and I don't think Margaret Scott has got free reign on this, but I think there's a lot looser.
Yeah, I think so.
Noose than there is, working at like Marvel or DC. So on these kind of licensed characters.
Well, hopefully Wizards of the Coast will be happy, and this will be a property that Boom can keep for 100 issues, like another property. So
yep, that would be great. So yeah, and that one shot coming out that was in solicitations or previews, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Just based off of the solicitation. So.
Dude looks tough.
He does. He looks awesome.
That was.
I was like, I don't know who you are, but you look cool.
That's it exactly. It's like, okay, you got me just from the cover. You did it. Okay.
Yeah. So we're all on board there. So, let's jump into the Killer Affairs of the State number 4.
Okay.
This is written by Matz, illustrated by It's illustrated by Luke Jacomon. English translations by Edward Gavin.
I'll say Gavin.
Okay. Letters by And World Design. And logo designer is Grace Park, and designer is Nancy. And I can't read that.
Mojica. Mojica.
It's my not having my glasses on because I don't want to have a glare on the screen.
Yeah,
so I'm like, what does that say?
Here's what I care about.
Yeah, I know. So, So, as a recap, if you've not listened to the show before, when we talk about Killer, Ed was not gung ho going into it, but was interested. And second issue, he was ready to tap out. Third issue, he was tapped.
Oh yeah, I was gone third issue.
So, did
read
you
it and
read
flung
this
it
issue?
Yes,
Okay,
I actually read all the words.
Okay,
Yes.
all the words, and there were quite a bit. So, if you've never read
his last issue, though,
the
not
last
as
issue,
many.
was a lot.
Golly.
Yes, it was like yes.
And now I know what it is. Anytime the Killer is by himself, that's when it gets wordy.
Oh, it's a lot of
Him
internal
and introspection
narrative.
I don't just keep the action. Keep it out in the world, and I'm good. Yeah, don't let him talk. No.
So this issue opens up with one of the gangs who is running guns. The killer or the assassin and his little group, they've got an inside man here. You kind of find out that the leader of this group, of this gang, has been given a tip that there's a mole within his group, and that from the events of last issue, that mole tipped off the wrong people, and so they don't know who the mole is, but they know that of the people that are in his group, one of them is, one or more are. So his sort of idea was, the leader of the group was like, hey, we're going to meet at this place at this time, and told him straight up, I know there's a mole in the group. So his thought was, if someone didn't show up, odds are that that's the mole.
Right. There you go.
Makes perfect sense. Well, everybody showed up. And so he, being a quick thinker, decides to gun everybody down.
He killed his whole crew,
Killed the whole crew. Except for one guy. And I don't know what, so
I don't know why he was safe. I
don't either. And I'm sure there was a reason for it. I'm sure maybe we've even known that through the past 3 issues. But either way, one guy survived.
And
somebody had to help him with the bodies. That's what it was.
When he was talking to dude who just watched him gun down everybody else, dude took it really well that he was still standing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, dude, what? That's your reaction?
Yeah. He's like, do you need help moving the bodies? Yeah. Okay. I'll get him in the car. So there's that way of doing it. So great way to open up the issue. Now, we don't necessarily know that he gunned down everybody here at the beginning. We do find out later in the issue that that's what happened. But oh man,
he got word that there's a mole in his bad guy group from someone who is in the same place as the leaders of the good guy.
Right. Yeah.
So somewhere there's some cross-pollination going as far as, somebody is in, but somebody's talking and so we're starting to close both ends of the circle here.
Yep.
As far as involvement of these people. And it's set in France. And so the leadership of this special outfit is in Paris, and word came from Paris to the bad guys that you have a mole. And so,
So Barbara and her group, which is the one that has the mole, who had the inside guy, she is, her person on the inside before he went to the meetup notified her, but apparently she did not get the message until after the fact. So they race to where they know that their guy is going to be, I think his name is Adril. They know that he's going to be there. They go there. At this point, everyone's already been gunned down. This is when we find out that the whole crew's been killed and shoved into a car, and very, very clown-like. And so now they're sort of seeing, people are starting to talk. There's definitely moles within organizations and leaks and all this other stuff. So we're getting sort of the espionage of it all sort of coming out. This is sort of the spy thriller aspect of it that we're seeing a lot of action and whatnot, a lot of pieces moving on the board. So our gang leader decides he's going to go, even though his crew is completely wiped out. And even in the previous issue, the leader of the group, like he's the leader only because the actual leader got gunned down in the last issue. He's like, well, I got to go ahead and get these guns delivered. So he goes and does that, and thinking that he's going to get paid, and he realizes that's not what his former leader was doing. He was just handing over the weapons, being supportive of this jihad that this group is, that they're giving the guns to. He's not for that. He's in it for the money. So chaos ensues there. So lots of action happening in this issue. I think this is finally, I mean, I'm guessing, but this is finally that what you were looking for as far as this issue or the story goes. So.
And he recrewed too after his after gunning the A crew down. He's got his B crew, I guess, that he uses when he goes to deliver the guns. Something I noticed looking through here, Chris, the panel here where we see later on the guys being gunned down. 5 guys. When they go to the car, there's 2 front, 2 back, and trunk. 1 in the trunk. That's 5 guys. At the beginning, there's only ever 4 guys standing there.
No.
There's 4 guys standing there.
Yeah, you're right.
The one behind him with the semi-automatic hooded and dude in the ball cap who's the leader.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, in every panel that it shows them standing there, there's only
4 of them. Yeah, you're right. So where'd the 5th guy come from?
But there's 5 in the car, and then when it shows them being gunned, there's 5 standing there taking the bullets. And I can't, because of the way that the gunning is drawn, I can't necessarily tell who the odd person out is.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to.
Because you've got hoodies coming off and some without hoodies, and so.
Well, because even you're right. Even in the gun down scene, there's 5 of them though.
But you've got the dude in the ball cap and his second wearing the hoodie on the next panel there. But so I noticed that just now. Actually, I didn't notice it when I read it, but I'm like, wait a minute, there's 5. Yeah. So apparently. I wonder if that's going to come up that there was somebody else there or not.
I don't know. That's a good question. So, but yeah, so I don't want to say that the story is becoming more clear. I mean, I think this has been a pretty, at least in my mind, pretty clear cut. At least the overall story is pretty clear cut of what's happened. I don't know how it's going to end. I mean, just everybody gets gunned down or something like that. There's still the big politician, what his involvement, how he's going to get involved. Is he going to get caught, with what all he's got going on? There's a lot of players still. And so it's just this big espionage story. So
of course that dude that's going to be appointed is involved, right?
You
see, that's kind of read and watched too many of these things to think that's not connected somehow.
Yeah. Now, I will say this: there is a lot of narrative from our lead, but it's almost like
it's almost like much, Chris.
Yes, he does, and it's like he feels the need, like he knows this. Like it's a weird way of this inner monologue because what he is telling the reader, he's not necessarily actually telling the reader because it's real life. So he's thinking about stuff he already knows and explaining it at a level that to people who probably don't know what he's talking about. And so I'm like, why is there so much description of what you're basically? This whole thing is sort of the how evil men made a point of them being threats to a community. And so it started in the 18th century with people being whole towns being massacred because of the bad guy. There was a thing about Genghis Khan, how he used to cut people's heads off, like whole towns, whole cities, thousands of people, and separate the men's heads from the women, from the children, and put them in giant piles, as warnings, like, I'm not somebody you screw around with. And his whole thing is that as society has expanded, how society has sort of I'll say mellowed out, how's matured.
No, they've gotten more
they've gotten
precise,
just more they've
more
gotten
tactical.
Right, they're more tactical now. So it's less about making a spectacle and just more of a understanding of, like, there's special people who do these kind of things. And so he's explaining what hired hitmen are and assassins, that kind of thing. So that sort of description, that's great if he was telling someone this, but he's just thinking about it himself. And I'm like, you're reading a book to yourself is what you're doing.
We need more Timothy Oliphant from the Hitman movie.
Yes, we do.
That's what we need.
Yes.
Just go out and do
it.
And just be done. That's all.
So I still am enjoying this. It's been a while since I've read, and I don't know if I've talked about this before, but the previous series that I have read, I've read in the collected editions and the hardcovers. And so reading them in one sitting or two sittings has been probably the better. I'm feeling. I don't remember reading any of these in single issues. I know I have. I've at least read one of them this way. But I feel like the collected edition is probably the better way to read this. So I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see. It just seems long. It's getting, even to me, it seems a little long.
It's difficult. This style, and I just read last weekend. I read the new volume 2 of Yojimbot,
okay,
which is also from roughly this part of the world, where this where this book is made. So you would think that there would be like or some kind of similar sensibility, but they could not be farther apart as far as style.
Oh wow,
art style, but also writing style, and just the psychological feel behind the writing. The way the writing makes you feel. Completely different. I really dig Yojimbot, by the way. I would recommend that if anybody is looking for something that is European and translated. Has kind of a Japanese flair, but not strictly science fiction-y, end of the world-ish. It's got a lot of tropes that it's using, but it's really fun.
Cool. All right, what you want to cover next?
Well, that only leaves Vampire Slayer, and you read it. So.
Oh, we don't want to talk about Something is Killing?
Oh, yeah, I guess we do.
Well, and really with Something is Killing, there's really just two things that I even want to talk about.
Yeah, it was kind of set-up-y. I mean, as far as where they are in the story. Let me see here. Something is Killing. Written and created by James Tynion IV. Illustrated and created by Werther Deladera. Colored by Miguel Muerto. Lettered by End World Design. And designed by Michelle Ankley. And the colorist. If I am getting that wrong, please let me know. But I'm kind of proud because I think I got that one. Miguel Muerto. I think that's how you pronounce that. So if not, please tell me so that I can be let down, people.
All
right. Yes, that's what's going to happen, because I think I get that one right, and I did it on my own. So, now, before I even talk about the story, the only note for this one I took is, what happened to Jessica?
What do you mean?
Well, because of the way that, wasn't that her name? Erica's woman that brought her in?
Yeah.
Because
that's true. Because
the way Big Gary was talking, I'm like, well, yeah, she's not around, but the way, so basically, this is going to be the story, the introduction of the Azure masks.
Yeah.
That's what is going to happen here. Now, also, there is the issue of Erica going independent, or so we thought. And you find out that she is still pretty heavily connected on the down low
Right.
from what we were kind of given to think initially, but it also makes sense because of some things that happened in the previous story arc where we saw where Erica was first brought on.
Right.
There was some foreshadowing, backshadowing, side shadowing going on there as far as the story itself and the way that the art, some of the information that the art relayed as far as
Right.
what was going on. So we see that, yeah, if you noticed those and picked up on those few things, you were right, because this is the result of that. And you find out that Erica being out in the cold, she's not quite as out in the cold as I don't know, as James, I guess, wanted us to believe by the way things were initially done. She still is without much resources. Yes. I
Right.
mean, she still is to a very, very large extent on her own, but she's not completely bare. We see Agent Cutter. She's not Agent. I
Yeah.
believe it gave her name in the previous issue, but I didn't
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
And then Cecilia Slaughter, who I want to know, just like I want to know what happened to Jessica, I want to know who the heck this Cecilia is. What what is she doing? How does all this because we've seen from Erica's beginning, more or less, we've seen where she is currently. In between there, Jessica is not, and Cecilia is, and I'm curious. Why? How did we get? We've seen A. We're at, I don't know. We're at M. And we've seen a letter or two in between, but we haven't seen all the letters in between. And I want to fill those in too. But we'll have to see. I don't think we'll actually get answers really to either of those, because it's more about Erica and the Azure masks. That's going to
Right.
be, and it's about this really weird type of monster too, apparently, that isn't very often seen. As it turns out also.
Yeah.
So that it's, between that was, there was something, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was something weird about the nature of the very first monster. And there's something kind of odd about the nature of this monster. So I wonder if that weirdness about the nature of is an overarching kind of
It could
story
be.
for the
Yeah.
world, that will lead into something, while we're getting all these different pieces about the individuals and the masks and how they and where they and stuff like that. So, a breaking down of the barriers between, who knows? I don't know. Thanos is going to step out at one point and do something. Who is this, Chris? I don't recognize that person chiming in.
Oh, cool.
Haven't gotten around to
welcome
reading
to
the
the
new
show.
House of Slaughter yet, but hopefully it's on the same level, or maybe better than Aaron's story from the first 5 issues. For me, it was better than Aaron's story. Yes. So
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Or at least so far. I mean, we're only one issue in, so.
And welcome to the broadcast, by the way. Rishido Risu the God. I know I probably butchered that, and I apologize, but thank you for being here. Thank you for saying something. Appreciate that.
Definitely. So my 2 takeaways from this issue are Big Gary's back. I'm super stoked about that.
Yes.
And definitely working with Erica on, like, he kept sounding like he knew she was working, like he's the one that gave her the lead
Right.
to go to Albuquerque.
He knew she'd be there.
And so, but he, the way he was talking to her, it was, as if she was still working with the house. And she was like, no, I'm not with the house. And it didn't matter to him. And so, yeah, whatever happened with Jessica, he definitely has a connection to Jessica and to Erica and, Aaron, I would think so as well,
Right,
that
by
group.
extension.
So, but yeah, so I was super excited to see him back. And the fact that he's just like, I don't care. They basically put me out to pasture.
Right.
I'm still going to help you
And
regardless.
let me jump in here real quick. I said Azure masks. Gary is the Azure mask.
Right.
The Cutter girl is what is she going to be? Is she Scarlet or Red or what was it? Scarlet.
Well, she's not Scarlet because
is
that's
in the other book.
Yeah.
But when we first saw her and her handler, they had a mask on.
Oh, they had a red mask. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was red, maybe not Scarlet.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
well, and that's what kind of confused me too, because it made me think, okay, but I'm thinking based off of this story arc as well as the House of Slaughter book having a Scarlet, that she is a Scarlet, and that we're getting an understanding of what the bigger picture of the Scarlet masks are.
Oh,
they handle the house
being used in two different ways. Okay,
Right.
yeah, okay.
So
I'm sorry, that could be.
So there could be, so we've got Erica,
cool.
who is obviously off, let's see here. Sub for a month or two, but finally had a chance to drop in live. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
well, thanks for subbing.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. We're here every Thursday, 9:00 Eastern Standard. So and
we're here most Thursdays at 9 o'clock.
Most Thursdays. Okay.
Come on.
But we do appreciate you coming by the YouTube.
Yes, thank you.
And if you don't catch us live, always catch us on the podcast. So that's always a cool thing. Let's see. What I most wanted from House Slaughter's new arc is to expand on how the Scarlet Mask members operate in this world. Exactly. And I think that's what we're kind of getting at with both the House of Slaughter arc and Something is Killing with Cutter, is that I think we're getting two different aspects of the Scarlet Masks in both books, which this is kind of what I was hoping to get out of having both of those series. You get sort of, different stories being told, but you're getting a broader understanding of what the different masks are. So.
Also, too, if both of these are Scarlet Masks, she is not like Dude from House.
Oh, she's not like Edwin at all. No,
at all. And not even last issue when we first saw her.
Yeah.
So, and we've seen a monster, a different monster here in Something, and we don't know in House, but that could be another different monster. So it looks like the desire for more unique monsters that may be met as well.
Yeah. So, but yeah, again, this issue is really kind of, it seems a lot of a setup of what's coming. So, but still, it's one of those things. It's really hard to say this was a bad issue, but it's a really good issue. But it's when all of the issues are like at a, like your average issue for the series is like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's
when it's when we get those really special issues, we're like, oh my gosh, but it's really just a little bit higher. So it's like
it's just an 8.5.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean,
so when we don't seem super excited about it, it's not because it's a bad issue. It's just
it's a tough bar to surpass because it's so high to begin with.
All right, so let's I guess we can jump into Vampire Slayer #2. This is created by the Buffy the Vampire Slayer universe, created by Joss Whedon, written by Sarah Gailey, illustrated by Sonia Lyo, colored by Valentina Pinto, with color assist by Ricardo Giardina. And then letter by Ed Dukeshire, and then the design is Grace Park. So
lots of covers
on this bad boy. So last issue, it got revealed. We were under the impression, and correct me if I'm wrong, we were under the impression that we were in a completely different universe, and Buffy was not the Vampire Slayer. It ended up being Willow. and so everybody was kind of playing the same character except for Willow, and she was obviously the Slayer and was having difficulties, and
Right.
then Buffy was just like a complete moron.
Well, yeah, she was just nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was just not even a fleshed out character, just kind of bland. And we thought that was weird. We really thought that was strange, or at least I did. This issue explains it all, which is great. I so appreciate the fact we didn't get a buffer issue. We didn't get sort of bits and pieces. We got all of the explanation in this issue, and it made me feel so much better about the series. And so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's happening. So in essence, what's happened is Buffy has always been the Slayer, and apparently having so much stress, both Giles and Willow felt bad for her, felt that they could use magic to help her, and in doing so, trying to take away the stress of it all, they took everything away from her. Took away her memories, her powers as a Slayer, everything. And it ended up crashing onto Willow. And so Buffy has no memory of anything, of being a Slayer or anything, and it's all on Willow now. And Willow does not know how to handle this. And in doing so, the Watchers have sent Faith to come in and help the situation, to help just to help the situation. So it is not exactly the same Buffy the Vampire Universe that we're aware of in the previous series. It seems we're still kind of early in Buffy's career as a Slayer, because Faith is new. Faith is not aware of who Giles is. So in the previous series, obviously they all knew each other real well. So this is still maybe a different universe or different something or another. Maybe it's just a different story in a different spot in the time. Who knows? I'm sure that'll be explained. But we do know that there's a Buffy multiverse at this point, thanks to the last series. So maybe this is just part of that. I enjoy this issue because of the explanation. If I hadn't gotten it, I don't know how I would be enjoying this series up to this point. So, thoughts?
Okay.
Was that completely different than what you got out of it?
No, but
okay.
I just still I have difficulty separating the people, and I don't have a frame of reference for who they are.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Beyond what I see in any given book. I don't know it. I don't recognize them, so I don't understand the baggage they may or may not have in this particular incarnation to do anything with.
Oh yeah, and I get that. That's a good.
I certainly I did understand the explanation of why not Buffy and why Willow, which that was kind of a different way of handling the problem. I would be interested to know why it worked the way it did rather than the way they thought it would, because it was much more profound in what it actually did, particularly as how it affected Buffy.
Yeah.
So, I also do kind of like the idea that, I don't care who you are, given time, all of the yuck that she faces and has to deal with, it's going to take a toll.
Mm-hmm.
And, at whatever time in her career in this incarnation she is, it has taken that toll that you would assume any normal person would feel eventually.
Yeah.
You're a hero and think of somebody like, not maybe so much Superman, but think of somebody like Batman, the profound evil that he faces on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unrelenting, and it just And particularly over the course of comic books, it has ratcheted up
Oh yeah.
over and over, and that one person is not going to be able to maintain their sanity through that. It's
Oh,
just
for
it's
sure.
not
Yeah.
going to be possible. And here, even more so in dealing with magic and demons and things like that, a more pervasive kind of evil than just somebody who is crazy and is just a regular human who's crazy, like
Right.
most of Batman's. Not all, I understand. Don't at me, people. um, but Buffy, it's much more supernatural and mythical and mystical, and so in my mind, that type of evil would be more pervasive and
Mhm.
insidious, kind of. And so,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I could see where finally she's like, she broke, but
Right.
she kept doing what she was supposed to do, and in order to help her, this thing went wrong, and
Yep.
it helped her, but it like tabula rasa rasa tabula rasa her.
Yeah. There you go.
So yeah, it's also, can you handle this question here about the
Yeah, that's
seven
what I was
secrets?
getting ready to do. I was waiting.
Okay,
Waiting for you to finish talking.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you. So I haven't gotten the chance to see the previous Boom Addiction episodes. But did you guys also think Seven Secrets may not have a good final issue if it's limited to? Well, it's actually limited to 18 issues. Uh, do I think the last issue is going to be bad? I hope not.
Well, he's saying if the last issue is only 20 pages,
Only 20.
with the
I,
way the story has progressed, is only 20 pages really going to be enough to do it?
It's going to be difficult in my mind only because I don't know what Tom Taylor's trying to do. Because the issue is not, in my mind, going to be an epilogue type issue. That's not how last issue ended. So in doing in not sort of getting us to a climax in the last issue, there's a lot of explanation of who Casper is and his history and his abilities, kind of the abilities. Um, I felt like this last issue is going to be more of a giant fighty fight thing, and we'll get maybe like a last page or last 2 pages of sort of an epilogue. And if that's the case, we'll see. I'm sort of hoping, based off of the track record the series has had so far, that Tom Taylor will hit the landing. But that's always sort of the fear when you get to a last issue. Now, I get the 20 pages. If it was a double size issue or something like that, maybe he's got more space. But then why not just do 19 issues? Why not do 20 issues or something to that effect? So he's had this stories planned out. I don't think this is one of those the book's getting canceled kind of thing. I think this is just the story he had to tell. So but yeah, it's a, will he stick the landing? I don't know. You kind of hope he does, because the series has been, at least in my mind, I've really enjoyed it so far. But we'll see. And I'm definitely when we do talk about it, I'm gonna be very non-spoilery when I come to it, because I know folks who are listening to the show who want to read it, and so I kind of want to leave it alone. So Ricardo brings up Richard, and I apologize for totally butchering your name there. Richedo. So he asks again, it doesn't feel like the series is ending, and I can't see us getting to a good
fight between God, Casper, and Demon Aemon, while also getting more questions answered and a good send-off to the characters.
I do feel that this is probably, I don't feel like it's going to end, like end. Like I don't feel like, I feel like we're going to get to sort of the end of this, and there's going to be more to come, kind of thing. Whether or not something will happen, it's kind of like a Basilisk. Now we know we're getting a new story or a new arc with Basilisk with issue 9 coming out in a couple of weeks. But we didn't know that at the end of the last issue.
No,
it hadn't been solicited.
It could have ended, but it was not definitive either. So
Right.
it's like it was really either way.
Yeah.
And then we saw the solicitation. I hadn't seen anything said that it was going to go
And I
further.
think that was great, though. I think that
Yeah.
not knowing really landed that ending because it was a non-ending, because we knew there had to be more story to be told. So I think Seven Secrets it could possibly do that.
Yeah, maybe there's hope. Maybe he's hoping for another volume.
Yeah.
Go ahead from.
And I know Tom Taylor's got a lot going on over at DC. He's sort of their big guy right now, or getting staged to be their big guy. I think Josh Williamson is sort of getting a lot of that right now because he's doing Dark Crisis and all. But Tom Taylor I feel like is right there with him. I mean, he's definitely done a lot of really good work for him, and I think his work on Nightwing has really reinvigorated that series. Trust me, I'm an old Nightwing fan. So yeah, I hope that there's more to come. But I agree. I don't think that the the series is going to end on a finite, ending. I think could be more to come. So we'll see.
And if I may here, on a completely unrelated note, 9 hours ago, Dan Panosian tweeted the cover to Alice Ever After #5, and he name-checked Boom Studios and Boom Addiction.
Oh, did he? I didn't even know
that. Philip retweeted that.
Oh, I need to go check that out. Sweet.
Yeah. So does that mean that he actually listens to us, or he just saw? But I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, cool.
But yeah.
So, and I guess to wrap up, Richardo is saying, I still am going to buy the 3rd volume when it comes out in November, even if the ending's lackluster. Awesome. And that's the thing.
Well,
I mean,
finish what there is, and then decide if you're happy or not happy. That's the best way in my mind to go about it. Consume it, and then decide after consuming all of it how you feel about it. Don't go on feelings or what you hear or what. Nope, do it yourself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, do the work.
And then you decide. If you think that that didn't do it, not a thing wrong with that.
Yep. And you and I can have totally different opinions of how the book ends. I mean, Ed and I have different opinions about books all the time. So it's it's just how it hits that person and whatever. So and that doesn't invalidate anything. It just everybody's interpretation is different.
With art, there's no right or wrong. It's how you interpret it yourself. As the individual. So. Never let anybody say, "Oh, you didn't get." No, I got it, dog. I got what I needed. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Defend your point of view.
So that's a lot of books covered in an hour. That's cool. There was still more books we could have covered. I think we even had 1 or 2 more books still on the list, but this was good. This discussion here at the end, these questions are great. I really appreciate. I keep wanting to put an R in there. We're trying to asking all these questions, everything here in the chat on YouTube. So, awesome. Let's see. Just want to say that I love this channel for existing because I've never seen too many people talk about Boom Studios comics in depth on YouTube.
Did it.
That was the whole point.
That
was the whole point of us finally bringing the podcast to YouTube.
Oh man, that is yes.
We not to give you our listeners too much information, but Ed and I have been doing the podcast for we took a 5 or 6 year break and came back last June, but had done 50 plus episodes prior to that. So we've been doing this for a long time, talking about Boom. Both of us have we've got different starting points with Boom as far as when but we've been long term fans of what Boom. Now we don't like everything that they publish. I would find it's very hard for that to happen.
Yeah, I'm not going to shill for Boom because that's not very genuine.
Right. Yeah, and so there are books that we don't cover, and we don't cover them not because we don't like them. We just might like tonight, just don't have time to do it.
Well, plus, I mean, some of the longer running books, have suffered from the fact that when we started this volume of the show, they were already going.
Right.
And we hadn't necessarily, and we're trying to keep up with what's going and reading 50 or 60 issues back on top of that, you know, so it's like, well,
Power Rangers.
we've just had to set, we've just had to set that aside. And it's like, well, you know, we missed that one. Well, I think also maybe for you, a lot of the Buffy books.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's just like, well, we have to make the choice. Do we want to read everything, all of it, or just try to keep up from this point moving forward as much as we can?
And that's what we're trying to do. So, as you've noticed, we're trying to incorporate Buffy. We're trying to incorporate some other stuff as sort of the new volumes come out.
And we're also going back to other stuff like this next week. Tune in
next week. So, all right. So, anything else before we get out of here, sir?
I don't think so.
All right. So, you can come by the website. It's comicaddiction.net or boomaddiction.com. 2 different doors, same house. Come check out all the episodes that we have posted there. We have one old episode. It's a classic episode.
Yes.
Season 1, episode 27. It's the Scott Newman interview. So go
what
back
does
and
a designer do in comic books?
It's such a great episode. So you can do that. You can email us at boomaddiction@gmail.com, much like Steven did. He sent us an MP3 with that voicemail. Plus, we'd read a previous email. We do have a forum that
Peace out, Richardo.
I'll put in the show notes. We haven't previously done it because I'm a slacker and I keep forgetting about it. Because I'm just Ed's over there all the time, but I'm not. I'm bad about these things. So that, and we also have the Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, search for Fans of Boom Studios. That's where all of the news and previews and that kind of stuff is sort of accumulated and shared and whatnot. So you can check out all that stuff there. Let's see what else. You can follow the show on Twitter at Boom Addiction. You can follow Ed at Teal Production. You can follow me at Chris Barton. If you're looking to contact us, DMs are always open, so you can message us and ask us questions and stuff like that. There's old books, because we're always trying to do retro books and stuff like that. If there's some suggestions you have, like next week we're doing George Perez's Sirens, and then the following month we're gonna finally get to Spira. The first volume of that graphic novel, and then it's wide open after that. So if you got suggestions, especially stuff that's like 10 plus years old, the more obscure the better.
Everybody that listens may not know, but we try to do like one a month.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily all fall that way, but that's kind of our idea. So June and July, we pretty much have an idea of what we're going to do, but that leaves 4 months?
Yeah.
5 months, 5 months that we haven't really decided. So throw some stuff out there. And if we have it, if we can get it, or now don't be offended. It could be something that we look at and we're like, no, what
not so much.
Yeah. Is there something else? Yeah.
Yeah. Anything but that. No. So let's see. Obviously, YouTube is where we do the live show every most Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, I'd say 4 out of every 5 Thursdays.
So if you follow us on Twitter, even if you just follow the podcast at Boom Addiction, usually at lunchtime-ish Eastern Standard, between noon and 1, we'll post a reminder and a link to the show, to the channel, saying that we're definitely going to be recording it. And I definitely think if we have weeks where we're not going to do a live show and not putting out a new episode, I'm gonna steal this from Steven and Just Another Fanboy and do classic episodes.
Yes.
So that way we can keep something up every week and plus get all those old episodes sort of resurfaced.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
We've been talking about Margaret Scott. I know we interviewed her.
Oh yeah.
So for the Witches, Toil and Trouble.
Toil and Trouble, yeah.
Yes.
When
she was doing that, we interviewed her for that. So
we got a bit of a Transformers lowdown because she was writing Transformers at the time. Too.
Yeah. I would recommend that be the next one in the queue to fill a spot.
Definitely do that. So I'll definitely add that. But other than that, I think that's it. So
that's our places to meet and places to be.
Yep. So this was episode 39. Next week is 40. We got a lot already packed. If you listen to the beginning of the show, you know all about it already. So everybody, thanks for listening. Ed, as always, sir, thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir.
And we will catch all of you next episode, next week, all the things. Goodbye.